Elizabeth's North Star of the whole thing is love. It's the frequency of love. No psychic medium has what you have with your loved one.
Yes.
No psychic medium has the frequency of love. So every practice I share brings people back to love. Even the art therapy practices are about tuning into a loving memory or a loving moment, or what did you love the most about them, or what did they love to do the most? That's just one of the easiest practices for anyone who's listening, is kind of bring to mind what your loved one loved to do and lean into that memory, and even better, do that thing and invite them.
Welcome to Signs from the Other Side with Fern Ronay. I'm your host, Fern Ronay, and this is the place to share stories of signs and messages received from the other side. Real quick before we get started, if you enjoy reading about signs and if you enjoy fiction like Bridget Jones and Sex and the City, you might enjoy my books, Better in the Morning and Better Believe It. And if you like this podcast, please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe in Apple Podcasts, and tell a friend too. Thank you so much for listening, and on to the show. Making art opens a portal, and so does grief. Elizabeth Bryan-Jacobs explains it all, and it is my honor to help her get the message out. You don't have to be creative in the traditional sense. There is a way to get there, and there is a way to connect. Elizabeth has been on the show many times, but if you're listening for the first time, she's an artist, author, and art therapist, and she helps participants through her Awakenings Dreamwork program connect with their loved ones on the other side through dreams, dream visits, and nurturing a spiritual relationship with them. And now there is a journal, and there is a temple, and there is a Lama, and there's been a lot going on in your life. So I'm so excited to catch up, and I'm so excited for anyone listening to this show to learn about you. You've been on the show many times, and I hope you'll be on many more, because I feel like what you're doing is so important, and the proof is in the pudding. You have people, and I've seen it through our wonderful editor that we share, who's showed all of the wonderful people who connected with their loved ones thanks to you. You helped them. And
I mean,
what you're doing is amazing. And I just am so grateful that we are connected. So welcome.
Thank you. And you know I love to chime us in.
Yes, please do.
And so chiming is kind of our message to go inward and lets the unconscious and the other side know that we are in a sacred space and we are open to receiving. But today I want to say a big thank you to you, Fern, for making all of this possible for all of us, and for helping everyone normalize signs and dreams and visitation dreams through all the wonderful work that you do. So thank you.
Thank you. So for anyone listening who has not been introduced yet to Elizabeth, please listen to the very first episode we did. We covered your amazing life. And I will say, in a nutshell, before 2016, there were 2 near-death experiences, a car accident, a divorce. You created a financial program for women who were trying to become financially independent. You are extraordinary. And that all led
I'm old.
No, that all led you to meditation and to an awakening. And in 2016, you had a dream telling you to pay attention to your dreams.
Yes, I did.
And we can talk about that. And in 2021, also, your father started sharing his dreams with you.
Yes,
So you could talk about those 2 things.
Okay, so, well, you told the whole first part, and the first episode is really worth watching. But in 2016, I had a dream that told me to pay attention to my dreams. Now, I'm from Rockland County, New York. I was raised Jewish. I'm very normal in the, crazy teenager growing up in suburbia sense. So, you have this dream and you go, wow, that's really interesting. What do I do with that? But I figured I would listen and kind of go along with it, because dreams had always been kind of an interesting resource for me. And it was like I chimed myself in, right? I said, okay, I'm going to listen. And boom, I was so flooded with dreams and visitation dreams and all kinds of really interesting spiritual experiences that I'm sure, my car accident, the NDE, everything kind of primed me and opened me up for these things to happen. But I was seriously flooded, and I literally threw myself into Jungian analysis with an art therapist analyst to help me kind of understand that I wasn't crazy, first of all, because I thought that I was with all of these strange things happening, and also to really help me kind of enter the sacred space of the dream world, because it is just, we can understand our dreams and we can learn and we can heal from them. But what most people don't know with their dreams is we can also access different dimensions. And so that's what was happening to me very spontaneously and all the time. And, thank goodness I found somebody good to work with and normalize. And I mean, at the same time, I was becoming an art therapist, so I had support on that end too, because it's like, okay, we're all not crazy.
Right.
I'm not alone. And then what happened was COVID. Well, it was actually before COVID. My elderly dad, he was declining, but he was kind of okay. He was, 92, 93 at the time. And, he was fading, but he was an older guy. And I can't even remember why he did it the first time. He knew I was interested in dreams, and he decided to start sharing his dreams with me. Okay. And this was like the strangest thing, because I'd wake up every day and my mother would get on the phone and he had another dream and she'd start to tell me, and I'd say, no, Mom, let him tell me. And he would tell me the dream. And Fern, I don't know, maybe after the first or second dream, I understood that my father was going to get sick and die. It was very, very clear to me. And it was almost like Carl Jung said, dreams are the guiding words of the soul. And we are supposed to kind of listen to our dreams as messages from our soul. Well, obviously, my father was too old to be guided. He wasn't going to get up and start doing what his dreams were telling. I became the surrogate. And it was just like this huge blessing. And really, thank goodness I was in analysis, because I don't know that I would have even understood how to handle it. But he had the first dream I knew he was going to get sick my father was on the ski patrol, and the dream he was talking to someone on the ski patrol and saying something was wrong halfway up to the left side. It was very, very specific. And it turned out that he ended up having a stomach bleed halfway up on the left side. Okay. And so, yeah, and this is a dream that we call prognostically significant, which is so interesting. I mean, these things have been recorded. I'm not the first one, but the fact that he was telling me and I was understanding,
Yes.
and I was helping him understand his dreams. So our role as people who work with dreams is to kind of walk with you, not tell you.
Yes.
And so we're supposed to help you understand it. But my father was really clear about the symbology in his dreams. If he was trying to find treasure, for example, in his dream, I would say, well, Dad, what's your association to treasure? And he said, oh, your mother is my treasure. And, so these were really significant. I know. And then he had this unbelievable dream. And this was before he got sick, by the way, that he was playing the numbers. And of course, I have a whole journal. He's playing the numbers, and he keeps winning. And then he loses on 093. Okay. Now he was 92. And I remember my mother said to me, do you think that means, what I think? And I said, well, it did mean that, because he did get sick and he did die in his 93rd year. So that was kind of astonishing.
Yes.
But it was so beautiful, Fern, because along the way, like my father, when I was growing up, was the president of the temple, and he was very involved in the synagogue. And his dreams were really clear. Like he would be talking to a rabbi and he would be telling him they needed to get on the marketing and let more people know about the temple. And I said, boy, my father was getting sick. I said, Dad needs to talk to a rabbi. And so when he did become ill, I made sure there was a rabbi who came in every single day to let my father tell all of his stories.
Yes.
And, I would say to him, Dad, do you pray? I don't even know these things about my father. And he said, I pray for your mother.
Oh,
He was so in love with my mother.
sweet.
I mean, they were just, 67 years madly in love. And and his dreams were really clear that he needed to connect spiritually, that my mother was his treasure. it was just a trajectory. And then what was fascinating, Fern, was the last dream that he had. He was in the hospital. He was vaccinated. He got COVID. I mean, who knows? He was in the hospital and he had a dream that he was exhausted and he was carrying a 50-pound bag on his back and he had to walk between 5 and 7 miles to get home. Okay, home. And, what does home mean when we're talking about spirituality? It's like I'm going back to God, right? I'm getting a cold chill because he died on the 6th day. He was walking between 5 and 7 miles. It was so specific, and he died on the 6th day.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Oh.
so that was kind of like my formal initiation really into like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. And this really is my calling, because why else would God or divine anything give me this gift of my
Yes.
father's experience?
Yes.
And really, his dreams also prepared me to help my mother grieve, because I was much more grounded in my father's guidance. Even right after he died, I was dreaming of him, and I was dreaming of his dream symbols. It was very strange. Like there was lots of skiing going on in my dreams after he died, and I would know, okay, Dad, you're kind of pointing me here, you're pointing me there, and I'm supposed to do this for Mom now.
Was your father the type of person you could have these conversations with? I know with my father.
Not one bit, okay? Not one. My father was like the friendliest, nicest guy. He was everybody's pal, I used to say. He was very gregarious, but we never, and I will use the word never, had deep conversations, except I will tell you, when I had my car accident, I fell asleep driving when I was 19 years old. I had a pulmonary embolism, and that was a near-death experience. But my father was the one who sat by my side the entire night as I was kind of going in and out. And he somehow learned hypnotherapy in college and was hypnotizing me away from the pain, because I really wanted to die. It was so excruciating pain. The pain was so horrible. And it's kind of, you have a blood clot in your lung, and it's very unclear will you live or die. It's like 50-50 even when they catch it. And I'm looking at, this is my father. He's sitting right here.
Oh, what a cutie.
I know. I have his blue eyes. He kept me here because I
Yes.
kept saying,
Yes.
I can't stand the pain. And he kept bringing me back. He kept bringing me back. So maybe that, we're talking about it now and I'm getting a chill. Maybe that kind of set he and I up for this thing that would happen later.
Yes.
But
yes. And what perfect timing that he would have these dreams after you've learned this, this
right.
training.
Right.
Yes.
So my father crosses over, and, of course, obviously my mother is devastated, and all of his clothes come home from the hospital. And I'm going through the bag of clothes at my brother's house, and I pull out my father's bedroom slippers. Now, my father had one pair of slippers that he wore his entire life from the time I was a child. He loved them so much, my mother kept replacing them. They were identical, long brown leather slippers. I have the slipper. And I glommed onto the slipper. I'm like, oh my God, this is my father's symbol. Like, this is my father when I see this slipper. So I took a slipper, my brother took a slipper, and we came home. And I started to draw the slipper because I'm an art therapist. And I very quickly understood that I could, like the way a medium holds something, like I could call in my dad through the slipper. Like this beat was becoming a fact for me. And it was really, really powerful. And I made this really beautiful drawing of the slipper. So the only people who knew about this, of course, was my supervisor at the time and my therapist. The slipper, this was like a thing. And I had it out, and I had the drawing out. And I took my mother to see a psychic medium, right? She is completely like, doesn't believe anything. And this is my mother, literally. Why did she tell me I have a daughter whose name starts with M-A-R? I already knew that. This is my mother. Like, I already knew my son's name was Jonathan. She's like, my mother's like, she's not getting it. But this is a very good psychic medium. And, they're hard to find, a good psychic medium. And I'm sitting there and she's talking and talking, and I know what she's saying is genuine. I'm hearing things like, oh, okay. She has my grandmother's name. She knows what my grandmother died of. And then she says, your father is coming through and he is showing me a slipper. And Fern, I started to bawl my eyes out. I just started to bawl. She said, he is showing me. And then she said, I'm so glad you're, acknowledging that. I almost didn't say it. It was so strange. He was holding it to me in his hands like this. And I was just like, sold. That's
Sold.
it.
Sold.
Right. Yeah.
There might be someone listening who would say, everybody's dad had slippers. Mine didn't. My father doesn't wear slippers. This is amazing.
I know. And they were such specific slippers. And the other thing she said is he's showing me hands like this.
Yes.
And I have, of course, a sculpture of my parents' hands. Yeah.
Yes. Wow. They were so in love. It's so sweet.
Yeah.
Before I met you, so I wrote a book called Better in the Morning, Better Believe It. And I was always of the belief that every night when we go to sleep, we meet with our loved ones on the other side. They're with us, they guide us, they want to help us. And when you wake up in the morning and you don't remember it, but you feel like everything's better in the morning, you just feel it. And I say it's because you met with your loved ones. And I would always disregard my dreams. And then I met you. And I understand that there is a dream visit and what a gift it is to remember that. But don't disregard your dreams. I would always write it off as it's your subconscious, like things you didn't work out during the day. And that may be true, but there are signs that come through in your dreams. And and I love the saying that you say, if you dream of baking a cake, bake the cake.
Right. I just said that to Susie this morning. She dreamt she was making a big painting. I said, go make the painting.
Yes, absolutely. And so it's so interesting too, because I feel like it's all culminating, like everything that you've been through in your life and then experienced with your parents moving on to the other side, but still communicating with you. It's all culminating into you helping other people do the same. And I feel like people hear art therapy, they hear what Awakenings Dreamwork is about, and they are like, I can't draw a pen, I can't draw a straight line or whatever they say, like a stick figure. And we always say you don't have to be able, you don't have to, no artistic talent is required.
No, I say think Pictionary. It can be a stick figure. And I have made my own stick figures from dreams that are so powerful.
Yes.
It's so powerful. And I say two things now. You don't need a psychic medium to connect, and you don't need to be an artist.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes, exactly. And art, when we say art, it could be knitting, like that was a great example in your program. There's someone who knit. I'm coloring lately.
Right. Oh, good.
Yes. And I also, have my dream box with the Golden Girls because I watched Golden Girls with my grandmother. And then she came through it. Her symbol is the fly with the fly on the pasta. So we talked about that in another episode. Go back and listen. But for people listening who now are themselves in the certain stages of grief and who or know someone, the journal is going to help them get to that place of connection. Just to clarify, so I was on the website. There is a journal that is for gateway, which is the first, like, of the 3 stages of grief that you define. Yeah.
Right. Threshold, also this journal has the 3 stages: gateway, attending, and passage.
Yes.
And so gateway is really about the earliest raw stages of grief. It's like we step through the gateway at the moment of loss, right?
Yes.
And then attending, we're kind of attending to who we are, where maybe we're having signs, maybe we're having dreams. It's kind of the identity crisis, and we're noticing things, and we're attending, and we're starting to be able to honor and gather and, maybe make an altar, or maybe, be okay enough to start implementing practices. And then passage is when the relationship is kind of there and established. And it's important to note these 3 stages, gateway, attending, and passage, came from Nora Swan Foster, who's a diplomat, Jungian art therapist, and analyst, and they evolved out of her work around childbirth, feminine initiation and childbirth. And as we were working together, it just dawned on me that they were so perfect because death is rebirth in some way, right? And so it just made sense to extend the metaphor and use it this way.
So the first journal that it says gateway on it, that's for someone in the very early stages of grief.
Yes,
Okay.
but that gateway is a much more expanded journal.
Okay.
That was the first volume of Grief is Love, the
Yes.
other journal. So this is Threshold, and this is also going to be divided into Gateway, Attending, and Passage, but you're going to have it all in one. It's going to be much more simplified.
Okay.
So, for example, the program that I ran you through, that all of my clients had these profound experiences, unbelievable dreams and connection. Threshold Creative Guide Soulful Journal is taking that program and putting it into a journal, a guided experience journal form. So it's the program that worked, and it's in the form of the journal. And it's much more expanded because obviously lots of has happened since I started writing this. Also, I'm very, very proud of this fact. I've been really crowdsourcing my social media and my followers on TikTok and asking them specifically, what do you want?
Yes.
And asking for information and using that guidance to really inform how I put the journal together.
Yes.
And so I think that's really, I'm very moved by everyone who has shared so thousands of stories and, experiences of connection and the desire and longing really to have more and to have agency in their grief, which is a big thing also because, someone dies, we need help and support and all of these things. And Threshold, this journal really gives back agency to everyone who's grieving. Here are practices that you can do at your own pace, safely, gently, in your own home. And I think having agency during grief is a really significant thing, right?
I was just going to say that's so perfect because so many people feel untethered and helpless. And then they're talking to their therapist, they're talking to friends, but then there's a moment when you're alone. And what do you do? You have this journal to...
Yes. And you can go to a QR code and do a gorgeous meditation. And maybe the meditation that you do that day is just to dial back your pain. Or maybe you're going to put on a headset and go to sleep and invite dreams and connection.
Yes.
So,
yes.
And just as a segue to that, I also decided to launch early access content.
Okay.
And so right now, as we speak, in my Stan store, do you know what a Stan store is?
I was clicking on it.
Yeah. So I have a gorgeous guided meditation in there with a step-by-step guide that goes with it. So people can literally put on headphones, go to sleep, get a really well-needed rest from your grief, and invite dreams and connection.
Nice.
Because
perfect.
Meditation is so important to my whole process.
Yes. And people are always afraid of meditation. Like, I can't sit there and, just say, this is not what it is at all. It's like a totally different kind of thing.
It's almost, it crosses over into a little bit of hypnotherapy techniques, but it's really just, you're going to listen and go to sleep.
Yes. And people shouldn't be afraid of hypnotherapy. Like, nobody's like controlling your mind.
No. It's safe and gentle and, it's just beautiful.
In other news, which is also goes along with all of this, everything's culminating. You are a receptor of synchronicities and signs and meaningful interactions, and everyone is if they only knew how to open it up. So this leads me to, you bought a temple.
I love how you said that.
How did that happen?
So this was just a really extraordinary thing. My husband and I were trying to sell the farm that we've had for 30 years and looking for, I think we spent 3 years looking and nothing was right. And he found this crazy listing online that looked like nothing. There was literally no property description, none. Just this picture of this Buddhist house/temple with a full-on shrine room, and beds in every room, like 5 or 6 beds. It was a retreat house. And no description, and no one would have gone to see this place because it was just like really strange. And you were like, what even is this? And it didn't say specifically it was a temple, but big Buddhist shrine room, yellow, green, red, gold little figures and dakinis and goddesses and all of these things. And he said, let's just go look. And we pulled up to this property, Fern, and literally there were thousands of prayer flags, thousands. Okay. And it's got this really unbelievable vibe, and it's in this really sacred area, and it's high up and very secluded. And I was just gobsmacked, and I thought, well, maybe I'm not even going to get attached to this because it's like almost too much for me when I understood what it was. And when we met the Lama who owned it, which was like a whole, I walked in the door of this place and he said, haven't we met before?
Yes.
It's like,
He said, like, I know you,
yes,
right? And you've
yes,
never met
he
him.
felt that he did. No, I never. And what was really interesting here is he is of the Bun lineage, and that is Bon. And I had never heard of this lineage. It predates the kind of Buddhism that all of us know. The Bun lineage, and this Lama, his whole practice is about dream yoga and lucid dreaming,
Yes.
and becoming aware in your dreams and meditating in your dreams and receiving teachings in your dreams and changing all of your fears and overcoming obstacles while you're sleeping. It's literally dreams as personal development through being aware in your dreams. And I'm just like, this is not happening. Like, this is
Of all of
it's
Lamas, of all of the
of all the Lamas, right? Of all the Lamas, of all the Lamas,
temples, like the
yes, lucid dreams, dream yoga, and I can't. Oh, and then it gets even crazier, right? Because of course I'm thinking, I'm never going to be able to live here, but I'm going to ask you every single question I have about dreams. I'm like so excited. I said, okay, I'm flooded with dreams. Dead people visit me in my dreams all the time. Please help me. Like, right? And so he very calmly and beautifully, and we're sitting and it's snowing outside, and he says, oh, the snow is angels dropping white flower petals from the sky. This is so auspicious and a blessing. He said, I'm going to give you a dream mantra, okay, to dial back and help you with all of these dreams. And he takes my phone and I hit record, and he sings a Tibetan dream mantra into my phone, okay? And he records it and he explains it to me. He says, the dream is from the universal mother of the universe, and it's to come to your dreams and touch them and make them visions and tellings, and separate your energy from the energy of others, okay? And he sings this. I can sing it for you, but I'll spare you. And so, of course, I run home, and I'm thinking like, we're never going to buy this. Like, I'm not even going to even get attached to this. And I go home and I start listening to the mantra and falling asleep to the mantra. I have this unbelievable lucid dream, fully aware that there is a big black horse next to my bed. Like, I'm awake and there's a big black horse. It's come up the stairs and it's nuzzling me and it's kissing me. And I think this is so beautiful and loving that this horse has come up the stairs to be with me and kiss me. And I, awaken, and we go back to the dream temple a week later, and I say, Rinpoche, I had this dream, and I start telling him. He almost fell over. He said, this is more. I said, is this auspicious? They love that word. And he said, this is much more than auspicious, because the universal mother, who the mantra is about, comes on a black horse. Her symbol is a black horse. And he said, the universal mother of the universe, has come to let you know that she is going to be with you when you move here to the dream temple. And we hadn't even bought it yet.
Oh,
I have chills. Yeah, no.
You know what I love about you? Like, what makes a person admirable and intelligent is that the willingness to always like learn and want to know more. And and seek answers from like all different avenues. And so like you're the dream expert, but you said to the Buddhist Lama, tell me, like help me.
Oh my gosh.
And like it'll only help you help others.
I
This is
know.
so perfect.
And what happened after that, he actually said this, and I'm very humbled to even repeat it, Fern. He said, I told my community that a woman teacher was coming. And they said, how do you know that, Rinpoche? And he said, I just know. And now I can tell them that you're here. And he had refused to sell the temple to like 5 other people. Someone wanted to like raise cows and kill them there. He wasn't going to do that. But he and I were so connected, and he really connected with my husband also. He called it an offering, and that's how the transaction happened. Of course, we paid a lot of money for it, but it was characterized for him as an offering.
Yes.
And yes.
I'm cracking up that you're like the American Dalai Lama. Like he's like, she's coming.
No.
And you're like walking. This is amazing.
I mean,
this
I don't,
amazing.
And then I want to say the most unbelievable part of the whole thing is that this lineage of Buddhism, Bon Buddhism, has completely changed my life, has put me on a whole other spiritual trajectory, different than I've been on for 25 years. It's changed my whole life. I feel like it's my lineage.
Yes,
and
yes.
so every day of my life, devote time now to learning about it and doing their practices every day of my life.
Yes.
There's an incredible teacher who's online. His name is Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche, and everything is free. And I follow all of his teachings. And I just did a dream yoga class with him.
Yes.
And so it's
opening
really
a portal for you in the way you open the portal for others. Yes.
Yeah, it has opened a portal, and
Yes.
it's actually even impacted the way I share dream work with other people. It's
Yes.
changed everything.
How so?
How so? It's become even more sacred. So the way Buddhists, it's very interesting. Like Jung will look at dreams and say, okay, all of that anxiety stuff, that's a complex, or that is shadow content, right?
Right.
But in the Bund tradition, it's karmic traces from the day. It's like I didn't understand. I always thought karma was like your past life, or you could make bad karma in this life. But karmic traces are something we do every single day when we don't have right speech, or we're being judgmental, or we're not kind to ourselves. We are creating karmic traces, and that shows up in our dreams. And so the whole pre-bedtime practices that I have embraced now, including listening to the refuge prayers in Tibetan and, just soaking up all of this information and doing the meditations from this Rinpoche, which is teacher in Tibetan, have completely changed how I enter sleep. So sleep is like a sanctuary. It's a temple. He always says, Tenzin, who are you as you're going to sleep? Are you like freaking out about what you didn't get done that day? Or are you, saying prayers and gratitude for your day and entering a sacred state? And so it's completely changed the way I fall asleep. It's helped me sleep better. And it's really even dialed back difficult dreams to a great extent.
Yes.
Because
wow, this
I really
added so much.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Wow, how meant to be. So you're going to actually live in the temple.
Yes. Which
this.
no longer looks like a temple. It now looks like a house. But it is a very sacred part. And what we do have there is that the Lama built what is called a stupa. And a stupa is a big kind of sculpture that's used for fire purification ceremonies.
Wow.
So we can like under the new moon purify and have fire burning ceremonies in the stupa.
Yes. How amazing.
I know. I can't
wow,
even believe it.
This is all culminating. It's so amazing. So the journal is coming out when and where?
Okay, so the journal, I'm launching it digitally. It's going to come out for holiday this year, and I'll launch it electronically. So it'll be on TikTok. I'll probably put it on Amazon also, all social channels, make it downloadable. And again, I'm gonna launch the content as I go, and I'm going to also probably create a little e-course. I mean, I will say that the journal is a guided experience more than a journal, because it's going to have QR codes that go to meditations that I create, art practices that I lead people through. So it's a very guided, held experience, because the thing about grief is, as you were saying, there's a lot of loneliness and isolation in grief. And I want to make sure that people feel held, and this is safe and gentle. And, you're right. Even meditation for some people feels really woo-woo or scary, but we're making it really simple and safe and self-paced, right?
Yes.
So you can skip from the early grief work practices and go into the later passage practices. It's completely up to you. And there is a lot of art practices there. And the goal of the art practices very specifically is to help process grief, but transform it into connection. That's the thing. And they do transform into connection. And what I'm so excited about, I've been doing weekly lives, which is like a whole other thing, as you know. But I'm doing some practices during the lives where in 10 or 15 short minutes, people are having an opportunity to process their grief, and they are experiencing connection in real time during the lives. And I'm getting all of these comments going, I felt that, I felt my son's presence, or that was so, I mean, that to me, Fern, is the greatest acknowledgement of what I'm doing all time, because it's happening in real time. And in real time live, which means that when people do it at home in the time that it really deserves and needs, that connection and all these experiences will happen.
Yes.
So,
wow. If it can happen on a live, then yes.
I know. Yes. Can you believe it?
Yes.
I'm save those comments.
Yes. Amazing.
I mean, people are like, I was meant to find you, and that was so beautiful. And again, let's dispel the myth about art therapy, because the practice I did last week, we did a scribble that what began with, scribble your pain, right? And then I led them in meditation to scribble your connection. And so by the end of 5 minutes, people were moved and feeling something.
Oh, this is so great.
Scribble.
Yes.
It's a scribble.
Yes.
It's not, we're not making paintings.
No. Yes. That can do it. That can do it. You don't have to be an artist. Yes,
no.
Absolutely.
Or a medium.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I say that all the time too. I'm like, you don't have to be a psychic medium to connect with your loved ones. I talk to my grandparents all the time. They send me signs all the time. I feel like I'm constantly, sometimes I yell at them when things aren't going my way, and that's fine. We have a relationship, and I'm not a psychic medium. Yes.
No, isn't that wonderful?
Yes.
See, this is why it's why the message is so important, Fern.
Yes, absolutely.
Because you go to a psychic medium, and I always say the worst part about it is not the reading, it's when it's over.
Yeah.
Because, you've had this extraordinary thing. If you went to a good medium, which is a whole other, topic, but then it's gone. And then you go home, and it's like, how they don't hold this power. And here's Elizabeth's North Star of the whole thing is love. It's the frequency of love. No psychic medium has what you have with your loved one.
Yes.
No psychic medium has the frequency of love. So every practice I share brings people back to love. Even the art therapy practices are about tuning into a loving memory or a loving moment, or what did you love the most about them, or what did they love to do the most, right?
Yes.
That's just one of the easiest practices for anyone who's listening, is kind of bring to mind what your loved one loved to do and lean into that memory. And even better, do that thing and invite them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I love to paint, but you love to do something else.
Right.
Or what did your grandmother love to do?
She always made date nut bread. I should make date nut bread.
Yes, and invite her.
Yes.
Invite her. And before you make the bread, set an intention. I'm setting an intention for you to come make date nut bread with me, and light a candle and honor her. She will love that.
Yes, and she will be
what
there.
What a great
absolutely.
way, to carry her presence forward. and to honor her and to spend time with her
Yes.
doing what she loved.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're amazing. So will the journal ever be available in print, like to give as a
Yes,
gift? Okay.
eventually it will be
Okay.
available in print. We're
Okay.
just launching it digitally so we can get that out to people sooner.
Okay, great. And so where can everyone find you?
Find me at Awakenings Dreamwork, of course,
On TikTok.
and also and Awakenings Dreamwork has a sign up, an early sign up for the Threshold Journal there. Also, my Stan store, Awakenings Dreamwork, will in the next. It also has a sign up there for
Okay.
early access to the journal, and so
Okay.
anyone who goes there, I'll be bundling and doing all those things that people do
Yes.
in these strange
Yes,
places.
yes. Sounds good. Okay, perfect. This will all be in the show notes. So
Yes,
that's where everyone can find it. Well, thank you again so much. I adore you.
I adore you too.
Thank you so much for listening to Signs from the Other Side. You can find me, Fern Ronay, on all social media at Fern Ronay, Ronay. I love hearing from you and I love hearing your stories of signs. And if you would like to hear more episodes of this show, please be sure to subscribe in Apple Podcasts. Thank you again and sweet dreams.